Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to today's webinar called From Data to Knowledge Through Artificial Intelligence in the Sports Industry. My name is Gemma from the Johan Cruyff Institute, your host for today's session. Just a few items before we get started. If you have any technical issues, we will be happy to assist you through the chat tab located on the right side of the screen. We encourage everyone to make questions anytime during the presentation. We love interaction, so please participate on the debate. Writing the questions in the questions tab, you can also see on the right side of your screen. And I will address them to Eduardo Valdez, our speaker today. Eduardo is currently the Global Business Development Manager at OLOCIP, a company focused on using data to analyze, predict, and provide knowledge to optimize the decision-making process in the sports industry, with more than 35 years experience in this field. Hi, Eduardo. Good afternoon.
Hi, Gemma. Thank you for the introduction.
Thanks very much for standby. We are looking forward to hear you, so the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And thanks, everybody, for investing time to listen and learn a bit more deeper about what we are doing, and we are going to proceed to the presentation. So first of all, I'm going to introduce the rest of the team that is behind me, and I think the most valuable part of the company, of OLOCIP. We have the managing team, which our CEO is a professional player, Esteban Granero, and we have Gaizka, Concha Bielsa, and Pedro Larrañaga. They are experts on artificial intelligence, and they have more than 30 years of experience in the field of artificial intelligence. And then we have also the rest of my colleagues that they are doctors on PhDs in artificial intelligence and computer vision scientifics. So that's the expertise that we're trying to bring to the companies on the sport entities, which we collaborate and we work with, and we try to solve issues that we are commonly finding on the sport industry. So after that introduction, we are going to present the index that we will see during the presentation. First, we are going to work like the construction of a house. If we talk about artificial intelligence, we have to start working from the beginning, from the bottom. And this is why we are going to introduce the part of data, the importance of the data, the new challenges that we have around that, how to storage data, and what are the new opportunities and demands in the sport entities, right? We are going to share our expertise and what we are learning from the industry. Then we will move through the artificial intelligence capacities, and we will share with you as well some best cases that we have in the sport entities, in the sport industry, and in other general industries. And we will learn a bit more about the models. We will explain furthermore how the models work and our scientific research, that at the end is the most important part to validate all the work that we have done, right? So I will start giving you some examples. We are in the age of data. Some years ago, we can talk about 20, 30, 40 years ago, we were not able to generate that amount of data that we are doing nowadays, and we have data everywhere, right? If we are watching a match or in our daily lives, in our daily jobs, we are typing on social networks information, we are generating content, and all this is producing tons of data. So nowadays, we said that data is the new oil, and we need to find it, we need to extract, we need to refine, distribute, and of course, at the end, we need to monetize that part. And we have a really strong challenge in the industry that we have to pass from this data to the information, and from the information to the knowledge. That's the challenge that I want you to present today and talk a bit further about all of that. So we are in this era, on this age, where we need to take advantage of that huge amount of data that we are producing on all the activities that we do. and we have countless resources to extract that information that most of the time we are not taking in consideration and to do it. So that's what I'm going to present. I will give you an example of what is going on and what is happening on the sport area while we are watching a match. Nowadays, the truth is that the teams are collecting tons of data from tracking. There are cameras and GPS that are extracting data from the players. Eventing, that we can collect all the producing information of the player while they are playing, pass, shots, aerial duels. We can get as well the physical test, medical test, well, a wide range, a variety of data that we are generating. And we are taking advantage of that information, of that data to extract information and then make better decisions despite all that that we have received, right? That's the first step, the first importance that we have to focus on data when we are talking about that. So when we talk about data, I want you as well to try to move through the importance of the quality of data. There in the screen, you will see just some words aligned with how we understand that the quality data have to be. But just to take away for you as a tip, that not every single data that we are collecting is adding value to our structures. So we have to identify errors or which ones are not providing that value for us. I will come back to this to the screen just to make you an example of what we can find in our normally jobs, in our daily day. That, for instance, when we are trying to look for the physical test and we are getting data from the players in a training, if we are collecting that data in a wrong way or with errors, we are not cleaning that errors from that, we will make a decision with that information that is wrong. So at the end, it will be really dangerous for our club or for our sport entity to make decisions with the wrong information. That's why this step, the clean and the importance of the quality data is totally crucial for the companies nowadays. So when we are talking about tons of data, we need to manage that volume of data. And here is when the fact of big data appears, right? That we qualificate or we name big data as the techniques that we have to use to work with large volume of data in order to produce information. That's what we denominate the name of big data. And of course, we use that techniques to get that information. But you can ask to me, okay, Edu, but what about the storage, all this information? What happened with that information? That's where appears the term data warehouse. That is the database where you have to storage all the data that you are collecting in your companies, in your sport entities. That at the end, what it will support us is to have the structured data information in a place for then analyze that information and extract solution in a descriptive way, on a descriptive analyze for the people who at the end make decisions, right? It can be a chief of a particular department or the CEO, whoever's then will receive an analysis of the data made by the experts that we will explain later who works in this area. And they will make decision in base of that. So we have find some limitation in the data warehouse nowadays. It's true that the data warehouse is the most common storage that in general in the industry is used, but there is a trend to move from data warehouse to data lake that I'm going to introduce you briefly in a few minutes. But I want to focus now in the limitation that we can find in the data warehouse, right? We can find a lack of access control, a scalability, or even a security. We can find security issues that nowadays is crucial for us. We are not able to import other data format such as video, images. That, for instance, for the sporting area, that's really important because they are recording in video all the exercise during the trainings. So they just can ingest tabulate data table like Excel information where we storage that. And then for sure this database is not developed or is not designed to develop predictive models, and even you can find difficult to find out where comes that errors that we can even find in the data warehouse. So from our point of view, for sure, our experience that is based on the information that we recollect before of the coronavirus. So we don't know how it's going to react the industry after that phenomenon. But we guess that the new opportunities and demand in the sport industry, it will come from that size. I mean, we have seen that sport entities, they are demanding expert in the data analyst and the data engineers profiles. People who are data analysts in this case, that they are professionals who collect and process and manage that relevant data and then create analysis for the chief or the CEO, who then will make the decisions that they have to do. And the data engineers, that they are the professional who have to build and maintain that structure and architecture of the database. So both profiles will be really required in the future, and currently we are starting to find in the industry. So I invite you to read more, to learn a bit more about these profiles, because we have find here a need, right? So then, as I was mentioning before, we pass, or the trend now, or what we are seeing, that the main companies who have the structures and have experience on working with a data warehouse, they are moving now, they are trying to focus their energy of investing on a data lake. That data lake at the end, it tries to solve the issues or the limitation that we used to have in the data warehouse, right? That ingest of data, it allows you to ingest a wide range of data formats. I mean, radiographies from players, image, videos, GPS information, tabulate information, everything. Then it allows us to have that part of management. We can autocorrect information that is not right. We can find out errors, and then we can even storage and clean all that information, with the extra value that we have the control of everything what we are doing. And even we can record all the movements that we are having producing inside of the data lake. And at the end, for focus on the solution, that is a critical point as well of this process, we can design, or we can include machine learning models to provide predictive analysis. Of course, that it's really important to find out the right people, the expert, as I mentioned before, who knows how to deal with all that data and transform that data into information. And that's what we have recently found out as something really important and demanded in the sport industry. So at the end, what I've been talking is about the wide range of data that we are collecting and we are producing, the velocity of the data, the volume of data, that's big data. And what we have to do is transform that data and information in knowledge. And to transform that information in knowledge, we need the artificial intelligence, right? And at the end, that's for trying to make better decisions into the companies, into the sport entities, to the industry, right? So just to take away from that part of the presentation, I want you to concerned about the importance of that and of data nowadays. Taking consideration the information that we extract from data to take better decision, the importance of working with quality data, please, that's important. And of course, keep learning about the evolution of this topic, because that is huge and that changes a lot year by year. We have recently experienced it, and we have to try to focus to learn, to know more what is going on and which type of companies are adjusting and create new things, right? So here I would like to send you a question to you. Now I will answer yours, but first I want to answer by yourself. What's in your daily day? How use you do to data, and if you take in consideration all these things that I mentioned to you. If even you're in the part of your work, you have and you analyze, or you have experts who analyze the data, and you take or make a decision in base of that information. I want you to answer by yourself, and please go ahead with the question that I will try to answer all of them. And in the last part of the presentation, I will add my email. You can send me an email whenever you want, and I will try to answer all the questions. So, Gemma, if you want.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Eduardo. I'm just going to, while we are waiting for the first questions to come, I will try to summarize a little your first part of the presentation. You said that clean data is as important as collecting data in order to take good decisions, storage this data, and provide solutions in a distributive way. To do that, the industry is demanding experts with capability to analyze this data, and these experts are data analytics and data engineers. Data lake try to solve the limitations we have on our data storage, and then to transform data into information, and that information in knowledge to provide better solutions to the companies. I think this is what you wanted to make clear in this first part of the presentation. And we have the first questions coming.
Yeah.
So Juan Guitar says, how would you combine to the oldest ones that data can predict the future?
Can you repeat?
Yes. How would you convince to the eldest people that data can predict the future?
Well, I think with clear and tangible examples. Of course, when we introduce our technology and the solutions that we are providing to the sport directors or the CEOs, of course, we know that we have to show them real cases, best cases, with numbers and figures. That at the end is what they are going to take in consideration, and then think about including that technology on their innovation on their structures. But it's really important to test first, and we give them that chance most of the times, at least in the sport area, to test what we are saying with words, because they need to see results. That's totally clear. And we will go deeply later. I will show you examples of how we work with clubs in this topic. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Diego Tasso is asking, how do you deal with GDPR rules? I understand that you use data from injury reports, personal performance from players, etc. Do you need to agree on being followed like this?
Well, the way that we work here is confidential information that we receive from the clubs, and we share they share with us all the information about this part, and we try to solve all the issues that or the solutions that they want to implement in base of that information that they are sharing with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. Diego was asking for the GDPR, if you can rely on GDPR rules, but if you say that the clubs are providing you the information, so I think that it's clear that you have the right information then. Hashim says, do you think that the future machine learning models in relation to video matches analyze can replace totally the position of the football tactical analyze?
I think in the future we will be able to achieve. I'm talking in general, in not just our company. But we will find that that part of the game for sure. So we will be able to provide the answer to the industry. I'm totally sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's related with the point that I was saying, that we need to keep learning and reading about all the new updates that are coming from a wide range of companies that we are investing hours and research on investigating and scientific research in order to answer all these questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Laura says, can we help the clubs by offering a simplified summary from the data rather than swarm them with data overload? Is the solution in the way we present the end results?
Yeah, for sure. We work in two lines, right? One, as I present to you the database that we understand that is the best way if they really want to have that culture or engage that culture into their structures, because it's something really important. And at the end, what we want is that they could be able to learn, to how to deal with that, be expert on extracting conclusions. But if they don't want to purchase or to develop a new platform, we can give them the reports. Actually, we provide the final reports with a solution that they are trying to find out in an easy way, let's say, to understand for the client. Sure, we can find both areas.
Mm-hmm. Lionel is introducing here the predictions. He says, okay, you have video data and GPS data. Mm-hmm. So is in your consideration analyze the expected behavior of an opponent and compare it with the live behavior?
Yeah, and then we will see it. I will give you an example.
Okay. I think that, we are many questions coming up. So if you want just to continue with your presentation, maybe sure. One of them will have the answer during your speech. So please carry on, and I will keep gathering the questions for later on.
And if you want me to answer more questions or give you a better explanation, if you want with more time, at the end of the presentation, I will leave my email address, and you can please feel free to make there any question. Okay.
Thank you.
So I will process. Now we are going to introduce the artificial intelligence part with clear examples of what we are doing and other cases. So as we were talking about the data that we are mentioning, or we are saying that is the new oil, we are saying that artificial intelligence is the new electricity, right? That is a set of technologies that allow humans' capabilities to be maximized through the use of intelligence machines. They help us to optimize our decisions to reduce the uncertainties, to reduce even the emergence of errors that we can face during our jobs. And I think you will impress about how we are surrounded by artificial intelligence solutions, and we don't really know that even exist, right? So I will present you with examples. So artificial intelligence, that in my case, I thought 3 years ago I heard for first time or read about that, and in my case I was thinking, whoa, that's totally new term, absolutely amazing. And I was totally wrong, and I'm sure because I've been sharing this information with several colleagues of the industry and even other industries, other sectors, about the meaning of artificial intelligence. And the thing is, we have been surrounded by this sort of technology since a while. We have here an example of the first conferences of artificial intelligence that we had on the 1955. So it passed a long time ago, and by that time we have passed through different phases, right? I'm here just presenting the complex world of the artificial intelligence, that we have different methodologies to apply in order to achieve different solutions for the issues that we can find. We can look, we can have models of Bayesian networks, we have computer vision, we have machine learning methods, that's what we are specialized. We have neuronal networks, key-fold, cross-validation. At the end, there are algorithms that provide us predictive information in order to have knowledge, right? That's one of the key things that I wanted you to keep during the presentation, from data, information, and now we will transform that information into knowledge. So that's the real scenario that we have currently in the society, that we, as I was saying, we are surrounded by artificial intelligence. I'm sure that during your day you listen music and you are with the Spotify, and it's right, Spotify is using since a while artificial intelligence models, Amazon, Microsoft, Visa, Alibaba. There are a wide range of companies, Netflix, who really have been working with this technology in the last years, right? For such a while. But in the sport industry, most of us, we think that it's something new, and it's not true. So now we are going to see in the way that we are achieving and implementing machine learning method in a wide range of industry, not just in the sports, because as a company focused on providing solution in artificial intelligence, we have a diversity of solutions, right? So we have been working with financial departments and with banks, trying to predict the fraud detection, trying to create process automatization, personalized financial plans per client. That is something really important. Or even in marketing, when sometimes we are with the phone, or I guess in Amazon, and we say, oh, they know exactly what do I like. Which sort of things would I love to pay for it, because they, at the end, behind of their system, they have artificial intelligence models, and they can extract what's your patterns in terms of purchasing. So we have created as well emotional intelligence models to understand better the fans' behavior or your behaviors when you are on social network. We can create content recommendation for customers as well, or even when we talk about the sponsorship or why to invest on a player to sponsor that player, we can predict and ranking which assets will be the most profitable for and visible for a brand, or even identify and classify the potential clients based on the possibilities of success. So at the end is try to predict what is going to be the reaction or the behavior of a particular case, right? And for sure, we have we apply all this model and this methodology through the data. So here I present as well a best case that we have recently made, just to present a bit more a real case. Now in that weird period of time that we are facing, we have developed a model which basically predict with algorithm the evolution of the virus per community and in the national in Spain, right? So what we have tried is to present to the authorities and the people who make decision just to take in consideration that information to help them with their decisions, right? If they should move UC beds to one hospital to another one, or from one community to other one, which community would need more masks or respirators in 2 days, because today we are seeing that in a couple of days I'm just going to invent, but in Valencia there will be a new peak. Well, we can predict which will be the evolution of this thanks to the artificial intelligence, of course. And I will present you a bit more deeply the methodology that we use when we are facing an issue or when we are discussing with a client in order to present the final solution. So first of all, when we receive a relevant question or a challenge that we need to achieve, we search in our database for the information that could help us to design that solution, right? Then we pre-process the data that we generate to the database that will fit our machine learning algorithms, and at the end it will provide us the predictive models, right? So with that information, we need to validate all and everything what we are doing with our I don't remember the word, sorry, with our scientific validations, in order to see if the response that the model are providing to us are the ones that we think are correct or not, right? So that's, I think, the most important part of all this process, because it will give you the scientific information of everything what we have done is proof, and it's working. Because at the end, what we try to show to the client or to prove is the margin of errors that these models can produce to the final result. And once that we have validated the models and the solutions that the machine learning models are producing to us, we produce the solution for the client. So here you can see now I'm going just to focus on the sport area and which sort of solutions we have bring to the industry. One in focus for the health department, in order to quantify the risk of injury of the players day by day, and prescribe which will be the best exercise or the best scenario for a player, right? Then with the analyst, we try to work in terms of providing them the information in a predictive way, learning from the patterns of every single player and the behavior of the team. So we can predict as well and suggest what will be the best solution in the next match, right? I will show you later some examples. Then in the scouting area and with the player's performance, we can do the same, always contextualizing. That is the extra value that we are bringing to the industry, and minimizing the margin of error and the uncertainty that we have when we make a decision. And in the management and business and digital area, we can predict which will be the value of the assets or the impact that will have a particular campaign of my company. So I will give you here the example of the TCT coach board. That's best case as well, because we have developed that platform and we have already commercialized. It's for the coach staff and the analysis members, because we help them to predict in which areas of the field in the next match you can succeed or you will suffer more risk when you are facing a particular rival, right? That's why we are trying to highlight the word contextualizing, because we predict in base of a rival. So if I will give you later an example of particular players, but let's say that we are analyzing the behavior of Benzema, it will change how Benzema will play against Valladolid and against Barcelona. So we can provide that sort of information to the coaches thanks to that platform, or even to their reports. But because as you, Gemma, asked me before, we just not provide to the clubs the platform, we give them also reports if they demand specific reports of the games, right? And also we can do estimation of the probabilities that an action or an event in a future context ends up in a goal, that it's really useful for the teams, or even to predict the behavior and the tendencies of a player or a team against a particular opponent, right? So here we see the deeply how our models are fitted with information, in this case of the players. So the individual, this case is individually, but we do with all the players of our database with historical data. We have a numerical vector which we call player encoding with all information of the player. So we have, let's say, the DNA of that player, and we can see how this player will performance against a particular team. So what we have done is to move from a particular player or individual player to the whole team. So we have taken in consideration all the information of a club. So I'm talking as well if a team suffer a change of coach, or if the team suffer or they sign a new player, the model we suffer the prediction will be different, of course, and we are taking in consideration all these modifications. So as I explained before with the example of Toni Kroos, we do it exactly the same with all the teams. So we have the whole information of the teams in the numerical vectors, and we know exactly how the teams of every single leagues that we have in our database, they are playing. And that's why we can get the solution of how this team in a collective way will play against other team that you are going to select. So here we have the example. We have that player, Benzema, playing for Real Madrid, and we want to see how will be his performance in the individual way or even in the collective way against Barcelona. So what the program on the platform TCG Coach Board allow us is to see how he will impact during the match and provide extra information always in a predictive way. That it's something that we were missing in the football industry, and we have tried to develop in order to commercialize, right? So here I have another example of Jan Oblak when he is in a place of set piece, which will be his behavior playing against Real Madrid. And we made here the example how he would distribute the game, the ball from the wings, but also, and the most valuable part of this studio is the quantification of the zone. That it's also something different that we have provided, and we can give to the analyst. And then, of course, we made the post-match analysis of how work. Oh, sorry, because I think we lost the white color, so it's just seeing the red part or the wrong passes. But we can contrast later if the answers that we have provided before the match, it was in line with the final action, what happened after the match. So, of course, that's a platform that is totally tangible. You can see results, you can prove, and you can see by yourself and with your experience if you feel comfortable working with this predictive sort of information that most of the time, or that's something that we found that several analysts and coach members, they were trying to find out and to discover this sort of studio. So that's what we create. Then, when we talk about the behavior of the players and the teams, thanks to that, we have created as well another platform that we call Tcg Scout, that is based on scouting process and performance prediction of players in different contexts. So we can see which will be the prediction market value of a player. In this case, if Cavani play next season in the same context that he has today in Paris Saint-Germain, if he will increase or decrease his market value, or we can even see the players' performance prediction, how they will impact in my team, and even identify that similar players based on the performance prediction, and always contextualizing. And I can do all these examples with my conditions. I mean, if I'm Valladolid, for doing an example, and I know that I cannot pay for a player such as Cavani, but I like these sort of players, I can do research of this player, contextualizing with my team and also with my condition. If I can pay or I can afford an investment of 2 million euros, I can check in the market for players similar to Cavani that better fit in my team with that amount of money. And we do that in football and even in basketball. So we are not just focused on one sport. We try to open and give solution in other sports. Here is an example of what we are doing. That's what we have presented recently. Players that they have moved recently, most of them from one league and from one team to another one. Okay, and which was the descriptive information that we had from these players last season in their teams and in their leagues context, right? They used to score per 90 minutes 0.75 goals. That is incredible. And we predict at the beginning of the season, of course, now it has changed, but at the beginning of the, when we made the exercise, sorry, no, that was February. We predict that he would score 0.36 per 90 minutes, and he's scoring 0.14, right? And you say, okay, but that's not exactly right, of course. And that's something that we try to explain always, that artificial intelligence and our machine learning models is not trying to be 100% exactly. Of course, we're trying to be, but we cannot bring 100% of success of the answer that we are doing. But we can reduce, and even after the validation of our models, we are reducing by a 50% the margin of errors if we part from the predictive dimension than from the descriptive dimension. So if we base and we take in consideration the predictive behavior of this player in his current team or in another team, we will be closer than if we just part from a descriptive dimension, because of course Joao Felix comes from Portugal, from a Portuguese team that is totally different from a Spaniard, and the same with Inter de Milan in Italy than Paris Saint-Germain in the French league. It's totally different. So we have to take in consideration all these things. So that's why we are trying to promote and to insist that it's important to look as well the predictive dimension once we try to make decision. Of course, we don't try to push or just to focus on the predictive information. It's not 0 or 100. We try to be equality and be in the middle. Of course, we are trying to have more information, and this provides you knowledge. So we try to insist that it's important to have this knowledge in consideration once you make decisions, right? The same with the injury prevention. We have developed a platform which is similar of a dashboard where you can see daily all the information in a predictive way of what is happening with my player, and even how it's going to affect the rhythms or the exercise that I have planned for the next season, right? So I can analyze each player. I can predict the risk of injury per part of the body. That is quite important and interesting for the medical staff. And even we can identify anomalies in the GPS information when they are collecting all that information from the training sessions. And just to end with the sport section, we have developed as well with other methodology, through computer vision, this system that through television we can get the tracking and the venting data from both players. So in real time, we are collecting all the information related to the players and identify the patterns of playing. So this is really useful for the coaches to do prediction of the behavior of the player. So that's another step that we have tried to that we actually have done, and it's totally in line with the evolution that we are suffering in the company and how we are investing our efforts on try to bring to the sport industry different solutions, right? And yeah, that's what we have tried to push and to help the sport community. And then, of course, all these methods have scientific research, because we believe in science, and our experts have to validate all the solutions or the methods that we are creating, as I explained you before in our methodology plan, right? So just to end with, I show you here an example of the validation process that all our variables suffers. Okay, so with a training set, and then we contrast the prediction that the models provide to us with the reality. And then the calibration graphics that we use for the different platforms to insurance to our clients and to ourselves that the models that we are producing are totally calibrated, are correct, and are providing us value information, right? So this is a real machine learning model that we are presenting here that allow us to present alerts, predictions, suggestions of how to change or make any change on the net, are totally flexible. It allows you to personalize, and it has memory, right? So just to end, guys, thank you so much for your time. I know, yeah, I'm on time, so but thank you for your attention. I know that it's not an easy wall or easy concepts. It's if it's the first time that you are learning about all of this, because this is take time and take months to learn, and well, about artificial intelligence, even years to go deeply. But I invite you to keep learning and to see how evolutionate everything, because at the end it will the artificial intelligence and the technology, it has come here to give us a hand and to maximize our efforts and production, right? So just to end, sorry, I would summarize this part in identifying which part of your daily routine artificial intelligence could help you to be more efficient, and analyze some best cases from other industries, other institutions, other companies, which could be implemented on your own sport entities structures, because this is at the end the most important thing. So thank you so much. Hope you learn, or at least you have inspired a bit to keep learning about all this information. And please feel free to contact me if you have any other question, because I will be delighted to share my point of view. And even if you have deeply questions about more technical parts, I will invite you to ask to my technical colleagues, my AI teams. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you very much for the presentation. As you said, it's not an easy topic, but looking at all the questions that we've gathered during your speech, it's a very interesting topic. Okay, I will try to ask you some questions. We have more or less 10-15 minutes to carry on with the session. So okay, let's continue with the questions. Jordi Cañellas is asking for money.
Yeah.
What do you think? How much a club has to invest in big data nowadays to have all this information?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you have budget to invest on a platform that at the end it will be something for you, or if you just want a report of what you can find the solution to the issue that you are trying to figure it out. So it depends, but we have seen proposals from €1,000 to more than 100,000 euros. So we have a wide range, let's say, of prices, because it depends. It's what I've said. If we are providing a platform that we have already developed, as I introduced to you, or we have to do something totally customized for the clients, because sometimes they don't want to report and they don't want the platform, and we have to develop their own platform to work with. So that's a really cost process that we have to do it. So at the end, it depends, but I would say less than 10,000 euros to more than 100 or 200,000 euros.
Mm-hmm. Rafael is asking, what is the biggest gap in the use of data in sports right now?
I think the barriers that sometimes people have, or they don't really want to invest first in the investment, that they don't see as a profitable part of their culture to invest on technology. And that's something that is a huge barrier, because if they don't even want to listen what is happening in the industry and some best cases, I think they are not in the right way. They are not in. at least you have to listen and you have to learn before to take a decision, for sure, or to try a pilot, or to have a bit of experience on this field. But just to even don't want to listen, from my own point of view, this is an opportunity for all companies, all the sport entities. So that would be I think the main barrier that we are facing right now.
Bram, he says, at this moment, I'm a sport marketing student in Holland.
Yeah.
Do you have tips what I can do to get a good start as a data analyst?
Well, I invite you to write me to my contact email, and I will send you a list because I think it will take a bit of time, and I think it's easier if you text me and I will give you an answer.
Okay, so Bram, do that.
Yeah. Thank you, Bram.
Okay. Matthew Butin says, data overload will always be an issue. How can sport clubs and entities best use of and summarize the large amount of data? Sporting and business side.
Summarize. Here I would mention what I said about the storage, the data. I think that part, that probably, I don't know where you come from, most of you, but that it sounds that really.
Matthew, who asked the question, is from Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, Ottawa. Okay.
Yes.
No, but I mean, I don't know his background, if he comes from the sport industry or another industry. I know that it's really common in other industries to have a data warehouse where you storage all the information, and you really, well, you clean and you take in consideration, you make your own analysis of all that data that you are producing, right? But the reality that we have in the sport industry, at least in Spain, is that most of us, we don't have that data warehouse of even that data lake. So we are collecting the data individually, in everyone in a different way. So at the end, we don't have a place where we can see everyone the information that is producing, and I think that's a huge miss of an opportunity for many of companies.
Borislav is asking, what kind of devices are you using to measure the physical data of the players?
Well, we don't use that. About that part, what we get is the information that the clubs provide to us after collecting the information. But here you can see the clubs, they collect GPS information, the nutrition test, the blood analysis, the anthropometric parameters or variables. So all this information is what the clubs recollect from their players and then send to us or pass to us that information in order to give them the solution that they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't extract that information from the players or from the clubs. Sorry, from the players directly.
Mm-hmm. What else? Jaime Fernandez. What would you say to the large group of people who say that football is something so abstract and emotional that cannot be reduced into numbers and predicted? Thank you very much. Yeah,
well, we have to face with these sort of questions. And well, it's part of the game. We understand that will be people or will be clubs that will engage with these sort of technologies. They will take the opportunity and we will work with that technology in order to be different and to try to improve. And there will be other ones. They will just pay attention to their emotions and their knowledge, watching what is happening, and they won't be part of this technology movement or innovation platforms that are trying to help at the end the decision makers, right? I think here you can find the best pictures that talk better than the words. What we try to do is use the potential of the machines and the technology to optimize and to maximize the work that we are doing. So the technology, the machines won't take the decision for us. They won't do our jobs. They will help us to maximize and the production of the work that we have to do. So I will give you an example. If you just let me explain 2 minutes, Gemma.
Yeah.
But we have seen, and we talk about that when we talk about scouting, that there are clubs who spend 2-3 months investing time on a league, watching all the teams, all the players individually, collectively, and they have done previously. They have really clear which is their methodology to find out the best players. Okay, so what we try to present to them is something that it's adjust to your methodology, and in 1 or 2 weeks you will have a list of players that it will totally fit on that methodology, instead of spending 2 months, 2 or 3 people in your scouting area watching matches and having trips to the stadiums overseas to watch the players. For sure that we have to keep investing on this sort of trips, but instead of doing 100 trips per year, maybe you can do 20 trips per year, and instead of investing 3 months on watching a league, you can invest 1 month or 2 weeks on that league. That's just an example.
Great. Julian, how do you measure your percentage of error with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, it depends on the model. Here, for instance, in the scouting one, it reduced the margin of errors at 50%. But it depends on all the. For instance, in the coach one, in that one that we have to take here, we have several variables from each single pass of the players, pass, crosses, challenges, aerials. So every single variable, it has a percentage or average of margin of error. So it totally depends. In the case of the scouting platform in general, I can answer you because it's a 50%.
Piro says, what is your opinion about that? Who owns the data, for example, on the athletics event? Who owns the data? The organizer, the company providing the data, the athlete? Who is the owner of the data?
You can even can take notes in your home of every single event of the match, and you are collecting data. So in this case, we don't have a general rule, which in the case of eventing, let's say, there is a main ruler for or owner of that information, right? So from your home, if you're watching a match, you can recollect all the data that the players are producing in the betting way, right? It's true. Or what we are appreciating that with the tracking, that we have 2 ways of collecting data nowadays during a match, right? We have that I'm just getting back. We have the eventing, okay, that are people who are manually or even automatically recollecting all the information of pass from every single player, or we have tracking, that are cameras that through laser, they collect all the information that the players are collecting. So when we talk about tracking, it's true that it's a really, really expensive nowadays. It's an expensive technology that it's not allowed for everyone. So many clubs, they cannot access to that information individually. They have, thanks to the leagues, for instance, La Liga, they have an agreement with Chiron Ego, and they share the information. So the clubs can get information from the that agreement. But individually, the clubs cannot get that information. But they can get the eventing information by themselves if they have the right structure in the clubs, right? But normally, there are companies such as Opta, StatsBomb, that during the match they collect information and then they sell that that packages of information of every single matches. That's, for instance, what we are purchasing to fit our models in the TCT coach board and the scouting platform. We purchase that data from the experts that are those companies, right? And then we have in the physical area as well more companies, but I will give you an example of Catapult, that they are devices which collect all the information and provide to the clubs the information of the players in the physical parameters, right? And then that's basically how it works.
Joao is introducing a question that I was also wondering. He says that shouldn't the coaches and the staff of a football club, for example, involve the players in understanding the outcomes of collecting data? Because it seems that the players are not involved, even though lots of data are collected from them. I don't know if you have to teach or I was asking.
Good question. Good
what
question.
about the coaches? Because do you need to train the coaches to better understand all the data that the club will provide them to improve the performance of the players or the preparation of a match? Should you train the coaches and the players?
Well, the truth is that most of them, they know that it's fixed, and it depends on them if they want to use it or not. We come back to the emotional part or the intuition part that some coaches realize that they can do their work better by themselves without technology, and I'm totally fine with that. But there is other current of people who are saying that with the technology, I can extract more information that it will help me to make better decisions, right? So they really know that it exists, the players and the coaches, because they are surrounded by many brands that talk with them, present them solutions like we do. We present solutions, we assist conference, we introduce what we are doing, we present them cases, and there are some clubs they see us as an opportunity to be different and to try to take that as an advantage, and other ones that they say, okay, with the technology that I have right now or with my vision of football, I'm right, and I don't want to invest on other methods of technology on other devices. I'm fine with. So it depends a lot. I think in general they have the information. Most of them, they know what is going on, but it's up to them if they want to use it or not.
Related to that, Rob is asking: Is there any limitation on collecting data, considering the fair play of the sport and the competition between clubs?
With tracking, I guess that yes, it's limited, at least to provide to the clubs and open that information of the tracking. But in terms of eventing, everyone can access to that information. I mean, you can call Opta if you want, and you can pay for that information, and you can get packages of the whole information of the matches from, I don't know how long, but I think we have a database from 8-9 years, historical data from 8-9 years ago. So you can even purchase that data. But with the tracking, it's different. I think they are trying to protect more that sort of information. That is a quite, let's say, quite new concept in the sport industry. So they are trying to private that information, and you cannot access as easy as you can do with eventing information.
Mm-hmm. Again, another question related to money, but in another way. Diego says that if can data from players be analyzed for commercial use. And he's giving an example. For example, betting companies can use data to predict scores, results, etc. Does artificial intelligence work in this case?
Yeah, they do in betting for sure. That's a really good market. I mean, for that brands, because they try to anticipate. I mean, that is about anticipate. I made the example with the COVID. We try to anticipate of the evolution of the virus, right? And we do the same in football. We try to predict and to anticipate what is going to happen based on the patterns and the behavior of the players. And we do the same here. And I have an example here. The prediction of the players' market value. There are clubs that they are focusing on this part of the as a strategy of how to develop or create more value through my players, and they just use the platform in order to see if I buy this player and I estimate that he's going to play the 70% of the minutes next season, how he's going to respond in terms of market, if he's going to increase their value or not. So for sure. And even if you want to loan a player, you can see if you have three different teams in a row that are pushing for the player, you can see in which one he is going to revalorize his market value, and you can say, okay, I want this player to send him here for a year to revalorize his pricing market value, and then I will sell him next season. Yeah, that's totally legal, and there are clubs that they are using that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another one. You was talking about the DNA of a player.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
In your presentation. Okay, so Lionel asks, what kind of data and who collects this data to build the DNA of a player?
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, yeah.
And what is the error margin that are you achieving?
Okay, so in this case, we have the historical data from the players. I don't know if it's I'm missing with basketball as well. I don't know if from 2025, like probably I think we have purchased the last 10 seasons. Okay, so we have that information from the players. From all the information about the eventing data that they have generated since 8 or 10 years ago, okay, in terms of passes, goals, challenges, crosses, corners, everything. All data that they are producing during a match in the last 8 years, we have it in our database. So we complex that data on a player encoding, and that's what we call DNA of the player, okay? And the second part of the question, can you repeat, Gemma, that I don't remember?
Sorry, let me see if I can, because many questions are coming in, and I just lost the question.
Nice, no worries.
Yeah.
The margin of error.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's true. Here, as I explained before, when we are talking about the CoachPor platform, as we are taking in consideration all the variables, as I made an example, passes, crosses, shots, goals, everything, what we do, or what we have done, it's calculate a variable per age. We have created an age model for each variable. So, for instance, I don't have a general answer of how to minimize the error. What I can say is that passes, I think we are reducing the uncertainty of error at 95%, but in terms of goals, it's different. So I cannot give you a general number or a general rate, because it's not the same, or it's not in the grade of easier to calculate a pass than a goal. So I don't have an answer, but I can ask deeply if you want to my team that they have created the models and give you an answer, because I haven't created, as you can see, I haven't created that models of the variables. So I haven't done the validation and I don't have the results.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and let's start with a final question from Moreno Mertens. Says, do you work with individual players to help them make a choice about their next team to choose the next club they have to play with, or not?
Well,
individuals?
we play with player agents. I mean, not directly with the player, but with the agents that they really want to see to where to move, or which option they have, or which will be the best option, because they have 4 or 5 different scenarios to move the player. That's a frequent question, but directly to a player, by my side, no. I don't know if other of my colleagues had to answer that solution, but in my case, not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that it's time to leave it here. Eduardo, thanks again for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you to you.
I have to say that we've had a peak of more or less 150 people connected, so it's been a very nice session with a lot of participation from everybody. So I just want to thank everybody for participating. Just remind you that you will soon receive a link to the webinar recording that you will be able to download. And we invite you, as always, to stay connected, keep following the new webinars, and you will find all the information on our social media channels. So stay safe, and I hope to see you soon.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you
Bye.
so much to everyone. Bye-bye.